Welcome, everybody, to the Not Sip Bayless Sports Podcast, the podcast all about tomfoolery and sportsball. I am your host, Austin, a.k.a. Not Sip Bayless, and I am joined by my two compadres. First up, we have Hamilton, a.k.a. everyone's favorite chubster, Anthony Ruiz Jr. Welcome, Hamilton Ruiz.
I'm the heavyweight champion of the world. Let's celebrate by eating a full box of donuts and drinking a case of beer.
Thank you, Shaquille O'Neal. And we are also joined by Kobe Bryant's new best friend, Heath Ledger. Welcome, a.k.a. Zach.
Why so serious?
What was that at the end? I think you just wanted to have more. You're just...
I'm sorry, I just came.
No. All right, cool.
Sorry, you guys know what my vinegar stroke face looks like now. I'm so
Some men
embarrassed.
just want to watch the world come.
That brings us into our first topic.
Oh,
The NBA Finals? I don't know. I didn't know how to segue out of that, so I just wanted it gone.
Sharp turn. That's how you
Sharp turn.
Yeah, alright. NBA Finals. How's everybody
Make
feeling?
that disappear. Like this pencil.
Our first topic of the day, as we digress out of that. NBA Finals are underway, and it is a 1-1 series tie as of today's recording, going to Game 3 in Oracle. We got a tie series. Did we expect this to be a tie at this point? Does our assumptions of this series change any way, shape, or form by these first two games?
Yeah, Toronto won a game.
I wasn't done with my fucking lead up.
You have to remember, he's an agent of chaos.
He's an agent of chaos. Or do we think that this is just how things are meant to be, and no matter what, Kevin Durant's still going to come back, and the Warriors are still going to be the champions of the NBA again? Let's start off with Hamilton Ruiz. What do you think?
Hamilton Ruiz. I thought Toronto had to win Game 1.
Yeah.
Definitely, you couldn't lose home court right off the bat. But no, I'm not surprised that Golden State took back Game 2. It's gone the way I thought it would go so far. I have not been shocked. The only thing that shocked me is that Toronto won the game in which Kawhi Leonard was not a big offensive factor. Mm-hmm. It's the big...
Who was a big factor in that one?
Well, as this podcast's namesake tweeted, Toronto's best player, Pascal Siakam.
That is true.
Pascal
That is
Siakam.
true. Well, we'll talk about that idiot more later. But Zach, what?
To be
Pascal
clear,
is not an
Skip
idiot.
Bayless, not Pascal Siakam.
Yeah, no, not correct.
We
not
mean-
Pascal.
Wanted to clarify.
We're talking about
we mean Skip Bayless.
Mr. Bayless.
Pascal,
Senor Bayless.
You're doing great.
You're killing it in your field, guy. Zach, do you have a retort? Do you agree, or do you feel differently?
Toronto won a game. That's great.
All right, then that was Zach's rebuttal.
Da-da-da-da.
Is that every time I talk? Is that like little thing? Zach said a thing.
Zach said it. I don't know. You sound like that was all you had to say. Do you have more to say?
I don't know. I thought that Toronto played really well in Game 1. I thought Game 2 really would have gone a different way had that third quarter started out better.
Oh my gosh, yes. That
18
third quarter
straight points really
was
killed them.
Atrocious for
Outside
Toronto.
of that, they played a fucking excellent game again.
Well, you can't fall in love with shots that aren't in the flow of your offense.
That's
and
true.
that's what they did. You can't match Golden State 3 for 3. Nobody can.
And my issue with talking commentary on this actual game is that's the only section of the game that I missed. I watched everything, came back to it. I watched the first half, came back to it a couple minutes into the third and went, what?
Yeah.
What just happened? They were up 10.
And yeah, Sam, I was at work for like majority of that first half. Was listening to pretty much the end of the second quarter in the car on my ride home. And I was surprised. I was like, wow, Toronto is the real deal. I got home and then things were different. But Toronto had many chances to still win that game down the stretch. Like the last 2 minutes of the game where Golden State nor Toronto could score a bucket to save their lives. Just going back and forth. I think it was tied at one point. I want to say, or like really close. Or just like Toronto needed a bucket. They had a bunch of nice looks from three that they just weren't hitting. So Toronto can be dangerous in this series, as we all knew. Series is tied 1-1. An away team has won, so we're getting into the real thick of things. We'll see how Toronto shapes up here in Game 3 when we go to Golden State. Anybody else have any closing things to say?
Any prediction? Has it changed how we think this series is going to play out?
Has the first two games altered the way you think, the way you thought?
No, I mean, we said before the series, and I think we say now, Nugs and 9.
Nugs and 9, exactly.
Nugs and 9.
Nugs and 9. I hold fast to that.
Dubs and 6.
Yeah.
I will say
that's
I will say the first two games did change how I think the rest of the series is going to go. I still think. See, originally it was an easy. It was an easy
Warriors in 5
6
or something. Yeah.
I was thinking Warriors in 6. Now it's a hard Warriors in 6. It's still Warriors in 6
with the chance for Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
to come
Kevin.
back.
You guys are forgetting that Kevin Durant might come back, and if Kevin Durant comes back, this is a Nugs in 5.
Well, then there's a couple things.
Nugs in
there's
5.
a couple other. Is Klay Thompson okay?
Yeah.
He got hurt at the end of Game 2,
and he is a huge factor. But
Boogie Cousins is clearly not all the way healthy, but
he was much more of a factor in that game too.
He is such a problem.
Yeah.
On that team, thank God, there's no way they can bring him back. When if he was ever healthy, which I don't think he's ever been on this team, like all the way, they're terrifying. They're literally unbeatable.
Yeah.
Like
if he could really get into the groove of that first team.
He's such a good passer.
Yeah.
For a guy
he seemed so like, I guess I never really watched too much of Boogie really, like all like taking him all in at once. He seemed. Thank you.
Just take it all in.
You were taking it all at once.
I was taking all
that
them.
slender figure.
I was taking it all.
He could be the heavyweight champion of the world built like that.
Look at his silhouette.
Yeah.
Wearing that sheer 90.
Anyways, he seemed really just okay with taking a back seat.
Yeah,
and
he's playing their game.
And facilitating and passing the ball. And I guess I don't know if I took that for granted of his game or just I'd never really seen that from his game.
Played with people that talented.
Yeah. You want to win a ship? That's what you do.
Yeah,
you don't play selfish ball.
And I really admire that. I always admire that about players that can like put their quote unquote ego aside, their Mamba mentality aside, right, and just really let other people thrive. Let other people do their thing. You facilitate to them. And I'm not gonna lie, I did not think Boogie Cousins could have been one of those persons. And I'm impressed to say he is. Did I use persons correctly? Did I? Cool.
I think it's people. I think you should have
said I think
people.
Persons
was fine.
Persons was fine, right? I don't know.
This is all getting cut, right?
No, I want the world to know.
The validation?
I want the validation.
I think it was fine.
Cool. All right. Nugs and 9.
All right. Tweet us out. Was the grammar correct?
Was hashtag not Sip Bayless.
Did we grammar good?
Did we grammar good?
How good grammar be?
I love my grammar. She's a nice lady.
DWGG.
My grammar's dead.
Or Nugs and 9. So moving on to our next topic, we don't have much to talk about NBA. We'll have more to talk about once the NBA draft comes up. This soccer player from the U20. I don't know nothing. I don't know diddly squat about this, so I'm gonna let these two Neanderthals talk about it.
Thanks for that one. Way to segue.
You're welcome.
Yeah, definitely a Neanderthal.
It's tall.
Oh no, tall? We haven't talked about him in a long time.
Nope.
That's obscure.
Nope.
That is.
Stop it.
So, Norway. Currently, we're in the U20 World Cup.
That means World Cup for players under 20.
Thank you.
How much under can you be? It's as good as you are.
Yep.
Under 20. Cool.
Yeah.
So if you have a 14-year-old who's a wizard,
Yeah.
he can play.
So Norway played Honduras recently, and it was their third game right now into the actual tournament. The final score, was it
12-0.
12-0.
12-0.
9 of the goals came from Norway's Erling Haaland.
I don't know if we're saying that right.
Yeah, I have no idea. I can't pronounce European names at all. Smith, what is that? But he scored 9 goals in a game. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you're on a professional level, which U20 World Cup is a professional level, he plays for a professional team.
Now, do we know what the record was before that?
6.
6? Wow.
6 was the record for goals scored in a game
Wow.
at that level.
Blew it out of the water.
Smashed it.
Beat it by a hat
He
trick.
beat it by a hat trick.
He had a hat trick on a hat trick on a hat trick.
He had the Big Mac of hat tricks.
He was wearing 3 hats.
He had a hat trick of hat tricks.
He compounded those hat tricks.
At a certain
That was a hat
point,
trick cubed.
There was he squeezed.
He cubed a hat trick.
He cubed it. I almost said squared.
he squared it, and then he
Squared
added
it,
another
and
one.
then he added another one.
At a certain point, don't you just have to lay that guy out?
Yeah.
If you're Honduras.
Like, dude, stop.
They had a player go out with a red card. It was a soft red, which means 2 yellows, which kicks you out of the game still.
Right.
But they could have easily just been like, all right, man, you already have a yellow. Just kill him.
He scored.
Go after his leg.
He scored in the 77th, 88th, and 90th minutes, which means with 13 minutes left to play in the game, Honduras was down 9-0, and he scored another hat trick.
He could have easily just been like, yeah, wide open goal. I'm just going to dribble.
So,
But he went, no, I'm going for the record.
It's not like there's a shot clock. I don't know why he needed to.
Definitely didn't need to. Could have just passed around.
he was playing for them scouts.
Yeah, I'm fine
He
with that.
he was playing for them scouts.
He's trying to earn a starting
He's
position on
trying
his
to
club
get.
team.
He's trying to get that cheddar, or that Swiss.
Norwegian.
Oh, man.
He's actually, because he hasn't played on the official senior Norwegian national team, and because he was born in Leeds, he's eligible for the English national team. And now there's a group of people that want him to play for England, presumably because he scored 9 goals in one game.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
But guys, I just want to apologize for that. That was a really cheesy pun.
You don't have to apologize. We laughed, kind of.
It got by him.
You got way by. Oh man, it's okay. I'm probably gonna cut that out. That was embarrassing. Okay,
That was terrible.
That was bad.
It's terrible.
Did you not get it?
You know the Swiss?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he said
laughed.
it was a cheesy pun.
Okay.
He doubled down.
That's okay. All
All
right.
right.
Okay.
See you later, guys. I'm going to go kill myself.
As well you
I
should.
really thought that would strike. Okay.
You thought it would strike.
Yeah, that was a soccer pun.
All right. See you later, guys. I'm going to go kill myself again. I'm still here. Fuck. Why does this hell exist?
So Zach, as our resident goalie, how would you feel if
Fist fight.
would you be fist fighting the other person or your teammates?
Oh, no. I wouldn't be mad at the other person because clearly that's on the defense at that point. I wouldn't be communicating with my teammates in anything other than glares. It would have just been me staring at people like, are you kidding me? That dude just scored 6 goals. What are you doing? Hold on to him. Bear hug. I don't care. Get a red. We'll end up playing this game with 6 people. I do not care. Do not let him score. Let everyone else do it.
Right.
Don't care.
Everyone guard him.
Everyone guard.
I need you guys in a triangle with your arms locked outside of... Yeah, just keep him in there.
Box
keep him in that
him
little
in a-
triangle.
yeah.
Hold arms. Link up, guys. Come on.
Now,
I want to believe that one of the other 3 goals in that game was scored by someone who hadn't scored before. So he's like super pumped, and everyone's like, Yeah, shut the fuck up.
It's like, Dad, I scored a goal today.
That guy scored 9.
9 of them!
I wish he was my son.
If you hadn't scored, son, your team would have only won by 11 in soccer.
Oh man, that's really just like that's like an under 12 game.
Yeah.
It's like 12-0 where you're like, oh yeah, these kids have never played
It's
soccer
like,
before,
there's,
and they
but there's
just
one
created
who
the team.
has. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a group of them that are, they all congregate around the ball, and it's just like a scrum, basically.
Yeah.
And then there's that one kid just waiting for the ball to pop out the other side. And
His dad was like an ex-soccer player who's trying to live vicariously through his son. So he
Dad's
just
way too intense.
he spoon-fed him soccer ever since he was sucking his mom's teat. That got really specific.
It really did.
That got angry.
I want to know what
Who
Erwin
made you suck on soccer titties? Who made
Soccer
you suck on
titties.
soccer
Soccer,
titties?
Nugs and Nine.
I wonder what Erland Haaland's shooting statistics were from that game. Did he miss it all?
Yeah,
Did
was
he
he just
leave
shooting?
chances out on the
Yeah.
field? So his
We're gonna leave that up to
this soccer dad we're describing could be like, you could have done better.
Yeah.
I was hoping for 11 goals. You let me down, son.
He did it all for his dad's approval, and
He did it all for the niffle.
he did it all for
His
the
dad's just like, oh, you had a game tonight? I'm gonna go fuck your new mom.
So changing gears from soccer to baseball, the MLB draft just recently transpired, and Zach knows a lot more about that than I do.
So the number 1 draft pick is Adley Rutschman. Again, don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I've never heard it.
Sure.
He ended up going number 1. The two really big things going into this that I saw on the internet was the fact that he was intentionally walked with the bases loaded last night. I don't know if it was last night. It might have been two nights ago. 3 nights ago.
X amount of nights ago.
Yeah, I guess this
As
doesn't
of this
matter.
recording.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. He got intentionally walked with the bases loaded. So basically,
That's
he came up to
wild.
the plate, and they were like, "Oh,
We'd rather
yeah,
take
so
1 run.
1 run, or probably 4." Yeah, let's go with the 1. So that's a pretty cool thing. That's not the coolest thing that he's done. In high school, he nailed a 63-yard field goal.
Hey, the Buccaneers could use him.
I don't know why, but this kid is a freak athlete. How do you hit a 60... Legs aren't that important in baseball. Yeah,
No.
sure, your base is important because it's going to help you hit.
Yeah, but your calves are...
You don't need to worry about kicking power. It's not like you're going into second base let me kick his shit out!
Yeah.
Unless-
We've all seen Prince Fielder. He is not a tone guy.
No.
Hey, if ever there was a week to appreciate the chubsters,
This would be that week. Thank you, Anthony.
you're welcome. Viva Mexico.
He's from California.
He's Mexican.
Is Mexican American.
I know, but the flag. Okay, anyway, it doesn't matter. Is there
I don't know.
Is there any more?
No, there wasn't anything more to that. I
But
don't even know.
that is pretty amazing. I think baseball. How many rounds are in the MLB draft?
I think 40.
Wow.
And that sounds wild. But the thing is, there are 4 different, I think, tiers of the league. So you're not just drafting for
That's true,
your
yeah.
actual major league team. You're drafting for
All the
of their
farm
minor
teams,
leagues
yeah.
and farm teams. Yes.
And I was this is something off the cuff that we didn't really plan about, but a topic I wanted to talk about. I was at work today, and there was these 2 gentlemen talking about baseball, and one of them said, "If you want to make money, baseball is the sport to play." What do you think about that? I
That's
disagree.
garbage.
I disagree, but there's some merit to that.
If you're a top level, once in a generation athlete, no.
You have to be the 1%.
Right.
You
Yeah.
have to be the 1%. Because everybody else in the farm leagues doesn't make jack shit.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's a proven thing is if you're in AA, AAA, you're not going to be making anything. Single A, you're not going to be making anything. You're like
And
most of them have second jobs.
If you're able to identify a kid at a young age is going to be a transcendent athletic talent, make him play European soccer.
Yeah.
If you want to do it for the money, European soccer.
Yeah.
Those people spend ungodly amounts of money on those players.
But those are the two most highly paid athletes.
Yeah.
Are baseball players and soccer players.
And
That being said, you again have to be at a way higher tier than everybody else in order to make that kind of money. If you want a job where you can do well at and like be in the top 10% and still do well, football's great. Practice squad people make a bunch of money.
I don't know. I think I would say basketball.
Basketball again too. Yeah.
also because of the players' union.
Yeah. Yes, if you are the once in a generational talent, getting a like $500 million contract from baseball, that's a lot of money or whatever. No. Let the record reflect that Hamilton just dabbed with absolute no context whatsoever, just completely out of the blue.
This is fiction. What is going on? I'm being besmirched. My name is being dragged through the mud. This is absurd.
I just spilled my sake. Sake it to me.
Okay, so we laugh at that. We don't laugh at my cheesy joke.
It's all off the rails.
Okay, all right. Sorry. Now I want to start us into a new segment for us that I want to get into more and more. For those of you listening, feel free to tweet at us anytime. My Twitter handle is the THEE Hook Studios, so the Hook Studios, but with an extra E because the Hook Studios was already taken.
Those bastards.
It's because he is the Hook Studio.
Yeah.
The
So THEE Hook Studios. I'll drop that, but tweet at us with the hashtag not Skip Bayless. Hashtag, is that what it's called? I don't tweet. I don't Twitter much. That's how you say that. Okay.
Hashtag.
Cool. But we do have a couple.
# not Skip Bayless.
# not Skip Bayless. We have a couple questions already tweeted at us. By two people
who each asked multiple questions.
Some of them are more actual questions, and some of them are. We'll get into that. First, shout out to Matthew, aka @MSurfboard, tweeting at us, and did actually bring up a couple of good questions for us. First one being, how do you think an old school player like John Stockton or someone of that skill level would translate in today's play style in the NBA? Who wants to open the floor with that?
So I can jump into specifically John Stockton.
Yes.
Would be a much bigger offensive threat in today's NBA than he was in his heyday.
Yes, because of the shooting. Yeah.
Shooting's been prioritized. We don't play from the inside the way that those teams did. And he was a defender. So he'd be like, I don't know, Patrick Beverly with a jump shot. Probably not quite as athletic. One of the best pure passing point guards of all time. I think his assist numbers would go down because he'd be shooting more. I think maybe what Matt's trying to say, he's trying to bait me specifically into saying something like John Stockton couldn't play in today's NBA because Steve Kerr couldn't.
Yeah.
But John Stockton's a generational player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think those questions like that are hard.
It's impossible.
I think that's the point.
Because I think players like that would adapt to the way the game is being played now.
Right.
The way the game was played back then, you practice like that.
Yep.
And when the game changes, you change with it. So it's hard to just take someone like that and put him in today's NBA like that because they just might not translate. They might not be quick enough because the game nowadays is much faster, much more quicker paced. A lot more points are being scored.
Less physical.
There are a lot more free throws being shot.
A lot more shots.
A lot more shots in general. Yeah. So it's. But John Stockton, I believe, would be a person that could translate. But let's say who do we think is a generational talent that would not translate? Do we think that
that wouldn't do well in today's NBA? Yeah. Patrick Ewing, David Robinson.
Yeah, just big players.
Those big guys from that era.
New Bowl.
The real classic back to the basket guys that couldn't really shoot.
Yeah, they're an extinct breed.
Now they would dominate offensively, but they couldn't stay on the floor defensively because they get stretched out.
Yeah,
like Ewing wouldn't be able to block shots. Robinson couldn't block shots. It'd be really hard to keep them on the floor.
I feel like Manute Bol's bones would break.
He's
so tall and lanky.
Now again, those guys
anymore.
are so talented. We don't know whether or not they possess the capability to develop a jump shot that would have been able to put them.
See, that's
on
what
the floor.
a lot. Yeah, that's also the thing.
Who
A
knows?
lot of players like that,
Right?
Who that was their play style. They adapted with the game and changed their play style to where they could shoot more.
Guys like Boogie Cousins and Marc Gasol,
Brooke Lopez,
right? Who were big time bruisers down low and developed the finesse needed to play in today's NBA.
I guess if you have your entire time dedicated towards just training towards getting better at a thing, you might be able to do that, and I think that's what we're looking at.
Baffles me as to why there's some players that just can't.
You just can't figure it out.
They can't figure it out. Now
you look at free throw percentages.
Yeah.
And you
DeAndre
look at the
Jordan,
fact that
Andre
nobody
Drummond.
ever wants to shoot underhand.
Yeah.
Which is stupid. Because it's a more effective way to shoot.
Yeah, because they don't know, they probably just think that they look dumb.
Yeah.
But anyways, Giannis is
bit.
trying. Giannis has made a lot of improvement, and that just makes me think.
What is Wiggins doing?
Yeah, or Ben Simmons. Like, what's going to happen if / when he develops a respectable jump shot?
If he does.
If he does, exactly.
You know who else couldn't shoot? Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Couldn't shoot.
Good passer.
But we'd never seen a player like him before.
Yeah.
But
also, I want to say back then, that size of a point guard
was unheard of. Right.
Now
it still is weird.
It still is weird now.
There's not many. I mean,
no.
So I think I don't know. I think Magic Johnson is a Hall of Famer. Is another general champ. But I think he's one person that I don't think would translate well to.
Yeah, I don't think he would.
To this.
Now in transition, he'd be just as effective as he always was.
Yeah.
The way that Ben Simmons right now is.
Yeah.
As Jared Douglas said.
I think he's one of those people that could have definitely adapted his game to the current league. I think that we
so
can't
too.
see that.
Really? Because he couldn't adapt himself to keep his fucking dick in his pants.
Oh God.
All right, we went a different direction than I was expecting. I don't know why I didn't expect that, but I didn't expect it.
Oh my God.
There's no on-deck
It's cool.
circle.
It's controlled now. It's
I
controlled.
had a thought, and it just batter up.
It's controlled now. It's cool.
I was not ready for that. Okay.
There are advertisements on TV for it now. We're good.
Our next question, also by M Surfboard. Do you think there will ever be a consensus on defining a league's MVP?
No, next question. No.
That makes no sense.
No, there will not.
I'd
like it to make sense. No, there will not be a consensus. Move along.
Well, the problem is there are more than one position in basketball. So it is hard to go, oh, you are the most valuable player for your team because of this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Yep. Because as a actual position player, you have to do certain things well.
Do I ever think... So, to answer your question, no. I do not ever think there will be consensus. I think there should be. I think we should add a new... We should do maybe what the NFL does. Have an offensive player of the year and have an MVP.
Okay.
Something like that. Add a new award to the person that just blew away stats. That just did amazing, like Russell Westbrook.
So Russ.
So yeah, that just stats-wise just does amazing. Is very polarizing in their position, something like that, and then have an MVP.
Can it just be called Stat Patter of the Year?
Sure, it can even be that.
That seems a little demeaning.
That does.
It does. It is.
I think that was very
that
sarcastic,
was the intention.
but I think that would be a way that something that the NBA could do to take away from that. And then just have like an MVP, someone who just was all around, made their team better by their presence. Now I want to get into our next topics, our next Twitter questions. These are, I did not want to read these.
I insisted.
We're forcing him to.
But they were insisted. These are all...
It's from our producer.
This is from our Hamilton's girlfriend.
Our producer.
Okay, so she tweeted, do you think pit bulls like to watch golf?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Rapid fire. Lightning round.
Do you know Clay Matthews?
Don't.
What kind of beer do you pair with each sport you watch?
Golf, something that is a Mexican lager. Football, Bud Light. Soccer, Heineken. Somebody give me another sport. Cricket. Nothing.
Nothing, because that's what it deserves. Who's your producer?
Miranda.
All right, cool. And then lastly, and thank Godly, who was your favorite 1969 Cubs player?
Can you answer this? Willie Smith.
There we go.
The outfielder who famously, on opening day, hit an extra inning walk-off home run at Wrigley Field
Way to go.
to beat the Philadelphia
100%
Fuck the
reading
Phillies.
off of Google.
I'm sorry, Phillies fans.
First
They
off, his
never
name is
listen to this.
Willie Smith, so yeah, he's my favorite.
So that wraps up our Tweeterverse segment. Yes, feel free to always tweet us your questions.
Tweet me weird things.
Tweet us weird things. Hopefully,
just me, not
hopefully
them.
sports related. Not
I don't
like,
want them sports related.
do
Make them
you
weird.
know Clay Matthews?
Hey, he sports balls.
He's sports balls. At least you
He's
got
a
the
he's a
name
sports ball
right.
member.
Unless she's talking about the backup singer for the Dave Matthews Band.
Shit.
Younger brother Clay.
Oh no.
Oh man,
I do know him.
I don't even know. So our last segment I want us to do
I did whippets
is a
with him
segment
one time.
we introduced.
So before or after he did cocaine with Mark Cuban.
Is a segment we introduced last week, and one
after.
slowly becoming one of my new favorite segments of the podcast, and it is Hamilton Soapbox. All right, Hamilton.
God damn it.
This is
Okay.
your time to shine.
This week's soapbox, I'll turn my attention to the Oakland Raiders, to the Bay Area,
To the niffle.
to the Niffle.
Did it all for the niffle.
There's a couple big things happening in the Bay Area this week, but they're mostly NBA Finals related. And the Raiders pushed themselves back into the headlines by signing a player I thought was retired because he said he was retired after he threatened to bring a gun with him and shoot up what was it, like people at training or something? It was something stupid. Richie Incognito got
Fuck that
re-signed.
guy.
It was at a funeral home, right? The people he threatened to shoot. He posted
That
an
guy's been hit
Instagram
in
or
the
something.
head way too many times.
He hasn't played since 2017. He's best known as a bully. And he got re-signed because he's apparently pretty good at football. Meanwhile,
Yeah, it was a funeral home. He
Yeah.
was arrested after threatening to shoot funeral home.
he's white. He's a man. So his behavior is excused, as opposed to kneeling during the national anthem or saying something as audacious as, "What if we didn't shoot black kids in the street?" It's bullshit. He shouldn't be in the league. He's not the only player in the league currently who shouldn't be in the league. He's just the latest example. It's ridiculous that Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a job, while people like Richie Incognito, and I'll say it, Nick Bosa, do have jobs. Talent shouldn't matter when you're a shitty person.
Yep.
And if you think that kneeling during the national anthem is a shittier thing than threatening to shoot up a funeral home or calling your black teammates the N-word, we don't have anything to discuss.
Yeah. You should go talk to Skip Bayless.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, Skip Bayless said dumb shit. Okay,
He
well,
did. That's the end of
That's the
Hamilton's
end
soapbox
of
for
it.
this week.
But no, I don't want to draw too much away from that because what you're saying is correct. And even at the end of the day, it's not even as an African American, it's not so. It is very mostly about race. But there are some black players in the NFL. I want to bring that up too. It's
Should
not
not
just
be
a
in
white thing. There are some black players in the NFL that do not deserve to be in there. Or Kareem Hunt probably should not have a job right now.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill does not have a job as of now. But
Did they officially cut him?
Will.
I don't think they cut him. Yeah.
He's just ineligible.
He's suspended right
he's
now.
suspended?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
They haven't cut him.
So yeah, talent. If
Shouldn't excuse behavior.
shouldn't. And who's to say? Maybe
Neymar?
maybe if Colin Kaepernick was a lights out quarterback, maybe he would have a job now.
Right.
Maybe he would. But that is the reason why he is not in the NBA in the NFL right now is not solely because of his play on the field. It is not.
It's not. That's
definitely
clearly
not.
been borne out.
And people who think that or say that are just mistaken. I'm sorry, you're just wrong. He is better than half of the backup quarterbacks out there.
And some of the starters.
And some of the
I'd
starters.
argue. Well, I guess Nick
don't know
Foles is now the Jaguars quarterback, so that's my go-to was Blake Buttholes.
Yeah.
And he's no longer the
I
quarterback.
need to look
I just hate Jerry Jones, and I just wanted to go back to Jerry Jones was one of the first people that was super outspoken about Colin Kaepernick. And
BS.
Fuck Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Fuck Jerry Jones.
Fuck Jerry Jones.
It's BS.
And that's
fucking stupid.
And I want to take over some of this soapbox is because one of the reasons why it's hard for me to enjoy the NFL is because of how unprogressive it is, how hard it decides.
It's a boys club.
Yeah.
It's a fucking boys club where it's like all of the old fucking people that are involved in it are the people that control it. All the people that really have no business having an opinion about it have the most opinion about it.
And that's what I love about the NBA is how progressive it is and how much its management listens to its players and takes action and stuff
Look
like
what
that.
it had to take for the Panthers owner in the NFL to get in trouble and lose his team.
Yeah.
Like that.
The NBA PA is greater than the NFL PA.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not even...
By all means.
And we've all, and just up until now, we've all seemed to have forgotten about Robert Kraft and all the shit he got into.
Oh my god, the massage parlor?
Yeah. And the possible sex trafficking. Now, I don't know everything about that situation, and I don't want to...
It was the wrong kind of sake bombs.
Yeah.
He was doing the wrong kind of sake bombs.
But that's just, needless to say, there's just... Why do they have jobs? Why does...
Is there a person of color that owns an NFL team?
No. There was almost one. P. Diddy almost bought the Panthers. But no. Is there a person of color that owns an NBA team yet?
There are
definitely people that are major shareholders.
Right, there are non-white people. I don't.
MJ
Mark
is
Cuban.
the majority shareholder.
Yeah,
for
I guess technically Cuban is.
Mark Cuban.
Yeah, but MJ is definitely
That's
the
true.
majority
MJ.
shareholder.
Yeah.
Right.
Why am I? Wow, that was dumb. Yeah.
Well, is he? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
The NBA is more progressive than the NFL.
NBA is more progressive than the NBA.
Very clearly.
It's really unfortunate that we were like one person.
Yeah.
We know we have one.
Yeah.
You're so progressive.
But yeah, so I mean that pretty much wraps up our soapbox. But it just leaves us some food for thought for our listeners. Tell us what you think. What do you think about all these situations about Richie Incognito having a job? About the progressiveness levels of the NBA and the NFL alike. Tell us what you think. Tell us what's on your mind. We'll maybe be able to talk about it in our next episode. But that's all we have to talk about today.
Do you want to talk about what Skip Bayless tweeted?
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, I want to rewind to our Twitter segment. So yeah, there's choked.
Good God.
Just threw up a little bit in my mouth.
Keep this all in.
Oh God. Oh God.
Some water there.
He's
That
dying.
was so gross. Oh my God.
We just lost him. Ladies and gentlemen, he's
That was
gone.
all acid.
He's been doing a lot of acid lately.
It was all MDMA.
That's a
weird
different
episode
drug.
to do on
That's
peyote.
a different drug. He's been candy flipping like crazy. Oh man. Sorry, Austin's been up for 3 days. Just doing various drugs.
What the hell was that?
Did the drip hit you finally? You get the nasal drip? Lots of cocaine.
Lots of cocaine.
Okay.
It all hit at once?
God, I hope that never happens ever again.
You gotta stop doing all the drugs.
Okay.
Where are the other drugs?
I want to rewind back to our Twitter segment.
Where's Harvey?
There is our namesake, Skip Bayless tweeted us. Not really, but I'm gonna say he did. He tweeted the other day. I'm gonna go to it right now in the Twitterverse.
Did you forget what it was?
No, I remember what it was, but I just want to be. I want to be able to say it
Exactly.
exactly.
Quote it.
Quote it.
Quote it.
Word for word. For
Delicious.
word. God. Okay. And this was brought to my attention. This was tweeted at me by Jimothy Cricket, a.k.a. Mr. Piggles. Shout out to Mr. Piggles. You the best.
Senor
Skip
Piggles.
Bayless on May 30th said, "I'm starting to think Siakam is Toronto's best player." Now, nigga, what?
He's a bitter old Spurs diehard who, since Kawhi Leonard left town, has not referred to him by his name and keeps calling him number 2
He's also just kind of an asshole.
because he's mad. Yeah.
He also has very terrible hot takes most of the time.
Now, my favorite thing about this is, if you have a tweeter, you should go to it, look at this tweet, and then just look at the comments. The comments are the best part.
They always are.
They are the best part.
Are there 1.4 comments?
The GIFs. What?
Are there any comments making use of the number 1.4? Do you ever know what that is from Skip Bayless? So Skip Bayless, when he finally made his varsity high school basketball team, averaged 1.4 points.
Oh.
And someone dug that up and fed it to Jalen Rose on a segment on First
God.
Take a couple years ago. And he threw it at Skip's face, and it is a fantastic
God.
bit of sports TV.
I love that.
That's amazing. But yeah, if you have the time, just go look at this comment thread. It's hilarious.
Well, let's talk about this because it's not that Siakam played bad. It's not that he didn't do a fantastic job.
We are all in agreement here that Siakam
Deserves his props.
Deserves his pride. But
the best player? No. Are you kidding me? Who have you been watching any of the playoffs?
Fred Van Vliet
is the best player. Thank you.
Fred Van Vliet.
Now I want to think that this is all about Skip Bayless's thing though. Like I want to think that this is satire, or this is just hyperbole, or he's just saying. But you don't know. You don't know when
Skip
it comes.
Bayless is
You don't
best
know when
friends with Steve Kerr.
God. You don't know when it comes to our namesake, and that is just why we love making fun of this man, because he makes it so damn easy. And that's all we have for today. Thank you all for listening to our tirades, to our transgressions, to our delusions of grandeur, and all the in-betweens and who's it's. We're just a couple dudes who love to talk sports, love to talk basketball, love to talk football, and that's pretty much about it. But we sometimes talk about other things. We like to talk sports. We don't care who knows. But there is one thing that we all rejoice in, and one thing that keeps us going in the morning when we wake up, thinking about our sad lives, the sad lives we lead. There's one thing that gets us out of bed.
No, it's not Jesus.
There's one thing that gets us out of the bed in the morning. And that one thing is this. At least at the end of the day, we're not Skip Bayless.
Damn it.
Brock Turner's a sex offender for life.
For sure.